Ice cream and cupcakes are my favorite desserts. Hi guys, I'm Glory the writer and I just finished cooking at TCO podcast. Let's eat. So, a quick break in transmission before we get right into the episode of today. Stargirl Chi says thank you so much for all the love on episode 11. The concern, the love behind everything was just mind-blowing. Thank you so much for sticking with TCO. We love you guys so much. Now let's get right into the episode of today. Okay guys, welcome back to the TCO podcast, and today we have another guest with me. As I promised, you guys are going to be eating good on this podcast henceforth, because I'm bringing you guys guests, and I'm not giving people ordinary normal guests. Today we have with me the global glory GGG. How do you feel to be here today?
I'm honored. I feel so excited. Thank you for having me.
You guys, I know she's sounding all calm, but she's not calm. Like, we have GGG with me. Like, if wherever you are, just go check your Instagram and just search for Glory the Writer. Then you know that we're already entertaining, celebrities and everything. So yeah, you guys should thank me for always bringing people quality as always. So Glory, how are you doing? I'm so excited to have you here. Like, I've been waiting for this episode. And finally we have it. So how do you feel to be on the TCO podcast?
First of all, I'm so excited. It's an honor. I mean, doing things and then people around you recognizing, and you deeming it fit to invite me to come here and talk. Yeah. It means a lot to me, honestly speaking.
And we're so happy to have you here. So you guys, word on the street, Glory is a new author. Shout out to Glory. She just released her first novel, 7 Hours Born. How does it feel like to have reached this milestone in your life?
I'm so proud of myself because I remember when I started writing when I was much younger, I always used to say that, I would love to write a book someday. But it just kind of felt like a dream that was in the future. So I never expected it to happen, this early. I didn't have it in mind for it to happen this early.
Yeah, so for context, correct me if I'm wrong. So Glory is a content creator and writer, and her major platform is Instagram.
Yes.
So she always shares like beautiful, really, really relatable write-ups. You really check her out and everything. So she's really having like a fast-growing community on Instagram and putting out her content. And she just released a book, you guys. And I don't know, it's just, how do you feel doing things like from a point of ease? Like, it's not easy to just put out a book. Like,
definitely.
Yeah, it's not easy to just put out a book.
A lot of work went in. I started planning this. Actually wanted to do it last year October, but then so many things got done.
But last year October though, did you have it written down?
Yeah, I had it in mind that I wanted to do it. So when we got to January, it was one of the things that I had on my list. So I was just looking at it, and Holy Spirit was like, okay, you have to pick this up. And it seemed, January, everybody's always like, oh, January is so slow.
Yeah.
But then the planning process was so long. From January to March, it was a whole lot,
I think most time when people have projects, they just see it as, maybe I'll just write the book, maybe I'll just put it up, compile it, put it up on seller, but there's always a whole lot of things that we don't realize. So that's why I always advise we start working on things. It's not enough to just have a goal, but you need to work towards it, because you could just write it down on paper and you just think, I'll just do this. But when you actually start the process, you realize that it's not just writing it on paper. So congratulations, my author, on your newly launched book. Thank you guys. Yeah, we are rooting for you as always. So Glory, so thank you for honoring my invite. So I thought to do a episode on consistency, because for me this year, consistency is something that has really been echoing in my ear. And this is not in terms of maybe podcasting or content creation. It's in terms of every aspect of my life.
Okay.
So even with my prayer life this year, there's always this thing that, I don't know if you call, let's say, the Holy Spirit. There's always this reminder that consistency over intensity. So there's always a need, to show up. So I felt like I needed to do an episode on consistency, because I know most times when it comes to consistency, people generalize it as maybe content creation wise, or probably something you're doing, not maybe not content creation, but like a career you're following, and then people advise you to like show up. But it could also be consistent in like every aspect of your life. It could be consistent in what you said you want to do this year. Maybe you want to go to the gym, maybe you want to improve your prayer life. There's this need to be consistent, because the normal Nigerian man will just think like intensity now. Like you know how people cooking now. Normally people don't cook. People don't really cook. But when Nigerians want to cook, they will cook. Do you get? So some people just really value intensity a whole lot. But I'm realizing, and I think God is teaching me like the importance of consistency in our lives. So what is consistency to you? What do you have to say about consistency?
For me, I don't have like a literal or like definite definition of consistency. For me, it's just showing up when you know that you are supposed to.
Okay.
So consistency requires discipline, and basically when we talk about consistency and people think about content creation, they tend to see consistency as showing up every
day,
and it's actually really not it. Consistency is in the little things.
Okay.
Every morning when I wake up, I'm going to brush my teeth first.
Yeah.
So for instance, my brother, generally, I'm not trying to like shade boys or anything, but we know that generally boys and public hygiene don't go together.
Oh my god.
Boys rather. But my brother, one thing I have noticed about my brother, before he eats, like no matter how hungry he is, he would make sure that he brushes his teeth. And that's actually something to take note of.
Yeah. Everybody.
No, I know. But let's be real now. Okay. This is Nigeria. No, for real. I know that normally personal hygiene, like you wake up.
Genuinely speaking, I think that whole thing is not even like a Nigerian thing, because even people abroad,
they do
your
it.
body.
Yeah. So that's just something that I have noticed, like over time, over the years, I have just picked it up. Okay, even if this boy maybe decides to have his bath much later in the evening or in the afternoon, before he eats, he would always brush his teeth. I'm just like, oh my god, wow. That's being consistent.
Yeah, that's really being consistent.
And then I feel like if you can start being consistent with similarly little things, it would reflect in other areas of your life. So for instance, there was this particular time I was struggling in my devotion. So I'm currently reading Atomic Habits by God's Grace. I'm trying to read 10 pages every day. Although sometimes it's tempting to go like beyond 10 pages, but I'm trying to stick it to 10 pages, because the first time I actually tried reading the book, I think I read about 50 pages in a day, and then for like the rest of the week I just felt overwhelmed. I'm like, I have read a lot. That's
Nigerian urge. You get to just let me not say Nigeria, maybe a human urge that you feel like once you've done a lot, you're like, I read 50 pages
the other day,
and
then you never go back to it again. So I had to, pick up the book. And then one of the things that I learned from the book was to kind of like plan out your day.
Yeah.
So I always do that. I have like a to-do list for the week, for my day, and all of that. So I told myself each morning when I wake up, maybe if I wake up, I go to use the toilet. As I'm coming back, I'm not coming back to lie down. I'm not coming back to pick my phone. I'm going to pick up my journal and my Bible, and I'm going to have my devotion. That's the very first thing that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And because I made up my mind to do that, every single day I did it. Although sometimes I wasn't really able to, have it for as long as
you wanted.
But I ensured that I did it.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of like made the whole day go better for me, because by the time I'm done my devotion, okay, I'm set to maybe open social media, because I know that if I open my phone first,
it's gone.
My life is gone. It's gone. So it's just reflecting for me in those similar little things, being consistent at it for me.
Yeah, like consistency is actually a beautiful thing. So usually when I set my goals, I'm usually an intensity kind of person. So let me tell you guys a secret. Okay, so it's not like a secret, but sometime last year I decided to cut off carbonated drinks. Okay. Like it was my goal for like the year. And then my sister, because I usually always go to my sister each time like I have something. I'll just say, Miss Mama, what do you think about this? And then she told me that why don't I try like maybe starting with a month before I do a whole year, since I'm used to swallowing carbonated drinks every day. Like since I'm trying, why can't I just cut it and you get and everything? But me, I was like, no, I want to start like intensity. That's what I want. That's what I want to do, and that's how in March. I've been even in February like this. I had that malt. I was not drinking malt throughout January. I don't know that malt is a carbonated drink.
Oh wow! You didn't even do your research.
I was not drinking malt and everything, and then that's how like when I just realized that, I was like, I've been defeated already. It was that day I bought Fanta. That same day I bought Fanta. So I said this, let's come back to like recently. I just said like for 7 days because I felt like I was taking in a lot of sugar into my body. So I just told myself, okay, even if I cannot do for 1 month, let me try for 7 days. And I was actually good in that 7 days. So this just says that me, I'm kind of like an intensity person. If I want to do something, I want to do it. Like I want to be like, if I say I want to start gym, I want to enter, like I want to lose weight today, I'll be like that. Like I didn't really value consistency. That's why I'm saying like consistency is something that I'm relearning this year. Because most times it's really about, actually showing up. So the thing you said about maybe in terms of content creation, I really love what you said, because I think people should just define what it means to them.
Exactly.
So consistency differs per people. So you shouldn't be under any kind of pressure, maybe because you feel like maybe Glory the writer now, maybe you're posting every day and maybe your life, how it is with you. So I just think consistency is doing what you say you will do, and not like slacking, and making sure you actually follow through with it, while making important goals for yourself along the way. So I just think that's what it is, and I feel like everyone should apply it in their lives. It's not just okay maybe in content creation, because I feel like it's always towards your career.
Yes.
In your personal life, you could be consistent, like how you're reading Atomic Habits. If I read 1 page of a book every day, I would have achieved so much. But with someone like me, like you said, if I read 40 pages, I'll be like, sorry, I cannot read those 40. If I read maybe 10 pages, I'll be like, I think I've tried now, and then it's till next month. So I feel like we should actually learn the act of like showing up there.
I feel like breaking things down into bits also helps, because, for instance, okay, you said you wanted to cut down on carbonated drinks. If I wanted to do that, so let's say I drink Fanta 7 out of 7 days in a week, right?
Yeah.
I would not just say, oh, I'm going a week without drinking Fanta. That's not going to work for me. So I think you can just cut down to, okay, this week let's try 6 times. Reduce it to 5 times, reduce it to 3 times, and then before you know it, you're not even going to be the one actively saying, oh, I want to take drink just 2 times. Your body is going to readjust. And then I feel like it's easier for you to adjust to changes when they are seemingly little than when you're like, oh, full blown. So I feel like that just really helps. So for anybody who wants to relearn or unlearn a habit, I recommend Atomic Habits. It's actually a really good book.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Atomic Habits. I have the book. I've bought the book. Chidera, it's time to open the book and read the book. Like, it was so bad that my sister had to take it and start reading. I'm like, and I started feeling, hey God, this is not me that bought this book since. Why have I even opened it to read it? Wow. So yeah, it has been really recommended a lot. So yeah. So breaking it down. So with that whole carbonated thing. So most of us in life, we're trying to jump before we crawl. Instead of us to crawl before we are just trying to jump. And it's not going to happen, because at the end of the day, we are human beings. Yes. You get. So we need to actually like take steps to, retract our habits like back. So reading Atomic Habits, what are some things that you feel like has changed your life from reading the book?
Okay, so I think one thing that has stood out for me is the fact that when you're trying to learn a new habit, you should associate it with a particular place and a particular time. So for instance, that time I said immediately I wake up after using the toilet, I would pick my journal and my Bible and have my devotion on my bed. So if I wake up and I'm not doing that on my bed at that particular point in time, it's kind of going to be hard for me. So for instance, now you're living all by yourself. You have a sofa, you have a bed. So if you want to maybe cultivate the habit of reading, why not try reading on that sofa or on the chair? Because your bed is majorly for sleeping, right? Yeah. And then if you're doing so many activities, for instance, remote workers, they will work on their bed, they will eat on their bed, they will scroll through social media on their bed, they're doing everything.
Our bed is our best
on their
friend.
Bed. When it's time to sleep, the body is confused, because as little as this thing seems, the body is actually taking note of everything that you're doing, right? So it's difficult for you to actually sleep on that bed, because you may sleep on that bed and then you may feel like doing work. You may sleep on that bed, you may feel like scrolling through Instagram. You may stay on the bed and then you feel like doing something else. But then if you associate, okay, the bed is just for sleeping, the sofa is for reading, maybe another chair for maybe sitting down just scrolling Instagram or something. The body is going to accompany those different places or those different furnitures in your house with different habits. So that way it's easier to build.
True. But I feel like that's because at the end of the day, discipline is what makes consistency work.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as a normal human being, you just prefer to be on your bed. You just think you can do it from your bed. So that's where discipline comes to play. That no, it's not time to be on the bed. It's actually time to be like on these decks.
Yes.
On these decks reading. So I think it's now about discipline. Like how disciplined are you? And for you to be disciplined, you actually have to not work with the flesh.
Yes.
Which is not an easy thing. Because like why on earth will you explain to me when I have a bed that I can put the laptop there? Why on earth will I stay on the table?
Actually.
So it really it deserves some form of discipline. And for consistency to actually thrive, you need to be disciplined. For you to build that devotional life you want, show up, you need to wake up and actually do it. Maybe if you need to wake up earlier because you need to go to school or you need to go to work, you have to wake up earlier. Is who wants to be waking up early? Do you get everything? Because for you to actually give into consistency, you have to kill the flesh, which is not like a very easy thing. But I do recommend what I feel helps me a lot. I don't know. Maybe you can also say what helps you. So when I know I'm being overly lazy, I just used to imagine myself very unsuccessful or very bloated in life. I don't know. It's how it just pinch you.
It does
when you are just lying down. Somehow my mind, because my I don't know, talk about that one that time. But somehow my mind will just say see what you are doing, and you say you want to do this. Don't worry now. Like it will just start telling you things, and that's the way. If you not to live in fear, but just because you fear something, maybe you fear.
It's not even coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of this is the person I want to be, and this is just
so. If you want to exactly for you to like give into discipline, you have to constantly picture the kind of person you want to be and the kind of person you want to live. So it's sad now if you are still the same Chidera like in this year and it's the same Chidera in 2029. I personally use something to motivate myself. So I know a particular person, I'm not going to call her name. So there's how she is, and I don't know if I should do this, but what I used to motivate myself is when I picture somebody I do not want to be like. So I don't know if it works for everybody. So I'm like, if I keep doing this, I'll open my mouth and say, why is this girl doing like this? What if it's now you? So that thing alone will just make me stand up. Do you get? So I don't know if it's fear, but I'll just stand up and everything. So that's one way to basically kill the fear. So I feel like consistency basically is doing what you said you would do. And okay, steps to is there anything like a step to consistency? Do you think you have like any pointers?
Like you said, consistency is different for different people because we all have different.
Yeah, but I mean like pointers for someone to actually be consistent. Let's say, for example, I want to exercise every day. It's not every day. I want to exercising because I know that I can't like maybe go to the gym every day. I tell myself I want to exercise every week. What are the pointers? Like what is going to make me achieve that? Okay. Any key to that?
So I feel eventually what I'm going to be saying is from Atomic Habits because I think I have learned to a large extent.
Thank God. The time you read Atomic Habits, from
the book. Okay, so there was one particular part where the author was saying that if you want to maybe like learn or develop a new habit, you have to attach it to something you already do. So for instance, if you can't go to the gym for some reasons, right? But you need to exercise. So why not exercise while doing something you love? Maybe you love listening to music. You can just do that indoors. I think that would keep you. It would kind of keep you motivated, right? Or maybe what other new habits can somebody be trying to learn? Just trying to think.
Let's think of the basic new habits. Just maybe we won't start reading this year. We won't start going to the gym. That's like things.
For reading, you can say, okay, I'm going to read while I get myself snacks to eat. Yeah. So maybe for somebody who is a foodie,
true.
You can read while you're eating. So that way, it doesn't just feel like when people think of books, they just think of boring. Books are not actually boring. So, but if you like food or if you like eating, you can just target along with that. Something that you
another thing, because with what you said, that really doesn't work well for me. Let's say I want to write. Let's say I want to achieve a 200 word essay. That's small, but basically I want to achieve something. And then I eat cake. I'll just be eating before I know it. I'll know when I will like like I'll just lose the vibe.
Yeah.
But it might not work like that. People might actually thrive of it. Or I say I want to write, I can plug my ear and listen to music. I'll be inside the music. I don't know how to put it.
Okay,
But sometimes rewarding yourself could actually work. Let's say you're a foodie and everything. So you could be like, if I'm able to achieve this 200 essay, I want 200 word essay, maybe I'm going to buy myself like cake after. You get sometimes it works better that way because you're expecting something. Something good is coming after. When you eat the good thing, when you see the good thing before you go through the valley of shadow of death, like do you get where's the peaceful destination?
So basically, just different folks.
Different strokes for different people. So most importantly, just know what consistency means to you. And the way I see it, take it as showing up for yourself. Like obviously you're putting these things down because you want to be better for yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you see it as you're counting on yourself, you're doing this for yourself, maybe it's going to change the whole thing. If you know that you're going to start really taking your Bible and your devotion life seriously because you want to grow a deeper relationship with God, and of this for you, maybe that's also the form of discipline that you need, because for you to be consistent, you can't keep feeding off motivation.
Like that's not going to work. Nobody gets anywhere anybody successful gets anywhere
out of motivation. So like genuinely speaking, we need to actually like do better, because the truth is that I know like everybody's having different things you're going through. Okay, why haven't you gone to the gym? It's not easy. I'm waking up every day 5:30. I'm building my relationship with God. I'm doing this one, but is that an excuse for not going to the gym? Do you get? So we actually need to wake up and do better, because the truth is that we're doing the bare minimum, and we are capable of doing so much more than what we're doing. So why keep giving yourself excuses? And those things are bad, because when you remember everything you could have done, you just feel bad.
Oh my god.
You feel so bad. Yeah. So with you, Glory, what's consistency for you regarding like putting out content?
This question is something that I know. So
yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not hard, or I'm not going to say it's hard. I just feel like it's easier when it's something that you love.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The same way somebody may love eating cake, it's the same way I love content creation. So it doesn't necessarily feel like work, although there are times that work is attached to it. I have to consciously put in efforts and everything, but the fact that I love it is something that just already makes it easier for me.
Yeah.
And then I have like a clear picture of where I want to be years from now. I'm kind of like a visionaire. So I always like having something to keep me going. And then, following certain people who I'm always like, oh my God, this person inspires me so much. I want to, be like this kind of person so that people can also, sort of look up to me. So it's really not like pressure or anything. I just know, I'm just confident in my journey. And I know that I want to put out value there to help people. Yeah. So obviously, I know I'm going to have to take conscious steps to get there. So that's like my driving force.
That's beautiful. So do you think, is it just me, but everybody's entering their content creation era? Let me tell you. So before social media, if you think about it, I always say this, because social media used to be where you take pictures and post your picture. Mm-hmm. Then your friends will see, Chidera went out today. So if people are gossiping about it, they say, Chidera went out today, can't check Instagram, they don't like your picture. But now everybody is a content creator. Like everybody has something to share all of a sudden. Do you think? So I feel like everybody's in this stage of actually navigating consistency with content creation. So like what advice do you think you give to them in navigating it? Because the truth is that some people can't be consistent with social media as much. And you know how it is now. When you're so consistent in posting, your followers increase, the algorithm notices you, and people are not able to grow because they are struggling with their lives and content creation. So how are you able to like build the balance? You've been able to build like a community on Instagram, you get, with your busy life schedule, living your life, developing yourself and everything. So what will you tell people in this?
Okay, so I feel like there are certain phases or seasons in our life where we would be very busy and where we'll be very free. So I think you should just make the most of each season that you have. So for instance, I always tell people to not compare themselves with me, because I'm not a uni yet. I kind of have like to an extent free time on my hand for now. So I'm just really trying to maximize that. So if somebody is like a medical student, obviously you can't expect yourself to be like, you can't be comparing yourself to me, because I'm not even in school yet. You're not just going to school, you are a medical student. That's a lot on its own already. So if you can just show up twice in a week, that's fine. But then for people who, hardly have time, I'll advise you to batch create and then just record the seemingly little moments. So for instance, you're on your way to school, you could just do a day in my life vlog. It doesn't necessarily have to be something so serious all the time. Then when you have like a substantial amount of free time on your hand, you can now, take your time to put out the serious content. But if you just want to, like, if you don't want your people to just be there while, okay, maybe when you just have all the time, you come, you can just do something to keep them going for the main time. So it's not a pressure to keep them entertained all the time, but just don't leave them hanging. You get that's what I would literally say to anybody.
Yeah. So you feel like their community will respect that, their followers will respect that? Because I had a friend once tell me that if he ever follows a creator that he feels isn't as consistent as others, he might lose his interest. You get?
I feel like I don't want to say two-sided in a sense, because I mean, if you take note of people that are consistent, maybe somebody like Salem King, by the time I was following him, he used to put out content every single day. Yeah. I mean, that was mind-blowing. But January this year, he took a break for the whole of January.
Yeah.
And at some point, I was like, what's going on? Where's Salem King? Yeah. But then he came back in February. And guess what? I was still there to welcome him with open arms. I was still very supportive. Yeah. I did not become less supportive. So in a sense, your people would find you. Like, the people who would really support you for who you are, they would still. But that's not an excuse to be lazy.
Yeah.
So I think what that person is trying to say is, maybe she follows a person who maybe made a really good post, and then her definition of consistency may not necessarily be that person posting every day.
Yeah.
But then maybe when you now come and post once in a month and disappear, once in a month and disappear. Even me, if I follow any creator that is coming to post once in a month, I mean, unless I know the person on like a personal level, I may not really be, because I'm like, how am I following you?
Yeah, I really do love that your people will actually find you, because everyone is actually under so much pressure. And I also feel like maybe if you also take it as a competition or something, just do what works for you.
Yes,
basically.
Actually.
And I love that your people will actually find you, because the truth is that even if Salem Kings let's do it for 6 months, people will still work for you.
Thank you. That's just it. So you just have to be confident in your lane and in your journey.
That's so true.
I put out a post on, I think, was it on Tuesday or on Monday, where I was talking about how when I first started content creation, my friends were very supportive, and at some point in time they weren't as supportive as they used to be. And because I felt like they were my people originally, I was worried. I reached out to a few of them, and I was just asking them questions. Oh, is it that you don't like what I write and all of that? And they're like, no. But then I noticed that there was no correlation between what they were saying and then their actions, and it actually worried me for a while. But I just kind of shoved it aside, and I just continued putting content out there. And over time I realized that my friends may have been the one supporting me initially, but they are not my target audience.
This is so deep. Do you know why it's so deep? Because I've seen a lot of quotes and I've heard a lot of people say that, okay, you know the global Timmy. There's a time she put out something, but how it's relating to business, but I see it's relating to content creation, whatever you are doing. So you shouldn't beat yourself up if your friends are not supporting you or putting in the work, because they are not your audience.
They are not.
Honestly. And I had a friend tell me that your biggest fans in the world are people that don't even know you. Actually. Do you get? So I really love what you said. Just go in line, and your people will find you eventually. People who are for you will definitely find you. So I feel like with the whole post that you've just realized, or maybe you could just finish up on that.
So it actually just hit me, because how I even I actually never took out time. Sometimes you just realize lessons, but you actually never pause to take notice. So this was how I even came to that point of realization. By God's grace, I am running this series, IMO, in my opinion, which was inspired by IP Quick. So it's aimed at helping content creators see ourselves through the lens of each other. So there's going to be a couple of questions. Oh, sure, that's fine. There's going to be a couple of questions, and I'm going to answer. The other person is going to answer. And then I remember when somebody was saying, "Oh, she saw my post on." By so far, everybody who I have done this series with, I always say, "Oh, I saw her post on Phoenix Blog's page," and I'm just like, "Oh my god, like that's a lot, right?" If I wasn't
Yeah.
consistent to a fault,
Yeah.
she wouldn't have reposted
Posted you.
exactly.
And everything.
And then I just paused, and I'm like, "Oh my god." Because she was talking about confidence, and I'm like, I wasn't this confident
Confident
from the
before.
start. So I actually took like 5 minutes to post, and I'm like, oh my god, how did I
How did you
grow to
get here?
become so confident? Because when I started content creation, I didn't even know what content creation was. I just wanted to write, and my friend said, "Oh, I was good. I should put out my pieces out there," and that was it. So I had to now trail back.
Yeah. And then how did you get here, Glory?
This was how it happened.
This is how it happened.
I was just like, oh, that really touched me. So I mean, I had to share.
Yeah.
I had to share.
It's a really nice one. I really loved. Like each time I record podcast with guests, I always learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know, like there's. So I feel like, yeah, that's it. Consistency. Just be consistent. Like whatever you want to do this year, if it's to hit the gym, whatever it is, just know you're doing it for yourself. Or if you're trying to grow a community or whatever, you're on Instagram, you're just trying to gain an online presence, you always know that your people will definitely find you. So no pressure basically. At the end of the day, just do what you love.
Yes.
Yeah, very important. So I think we finally come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much to Global Glory for doing this with me. You guys should please, if you love us, you guys should please check out her page at Glory the Writer on Instagram and grab a copy of 7 Hours Gone. I'm starting my reading tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Yes. So thank you so much for doing this with me. So Glory, any take-home assignments you have, anything you want to share? What do you want to tell the world before we close the episode?
I just want to anyone and everyone listening to this, I just want to encourage you. You can do it. Sometimes it might be like overwhelming when you're seeing people who are doing what you already want to do, but then just take baby steps and take it easy on yourself. Give yourself grace. As much grace as you extend to others, extend it to yourself.
To yourself.
Because that's very, very important. In the long run, even if people support you initially, in the long run, there are times where people may not be as supportive as you'd like them or want them to be. Then it's just going to be you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to be the ones who, I don't want to say beat up yourself because that sounds violent, but then you're just going to have to pick up yourself and then extend as much grace as you can and follow through with your journey. So people are rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. People are not rooting for you.
We're all rooting for you. Thank you so much for coming here and sprinkling your wisdom on us. We are grateful, man. Thank you. So guys, you already know the drill. See you guys same time next week. Remember to thank you for listening, because if you've gotten to this part, you've actually listened. Thank you for listening to us speak. Tell a friend about the TCO podcast. Remember, it's the 5th love language and everything. So see you guys same time next week. Bye.